The crystalline ceiling of the Ethel Council chamber pulsed with an internal luminescence, casting a cold, ethereal glow across the assembled dignitaries. Shadows danced across the chiseled faces of the Xylar representatives, their mandibles clicking in a nervous staccato as they observed the unfolding debate. A hush had fallen over the chamber, heavier than the gravity wells that held the immense structure together. The air crackled with suppressed fear, the scent of fear blooming among the assembled delegations like a toxic flower. For millennia, the Ethel Empire had expanded across the void, their mastery of advanced energy manipulation and their ruthless efficiency in conquest leaving a wake of subjugated civilizations. The universe had offered no resistance, their fleets swept through galaxies like a scythe through ripe wheat fields. Until now. Now silence had taken hold of the void, a deafening absence that echoed through the empty comms channels and filled every Ethel heart with icy dread. High Counselor Xylar, a veteran of countless campaigns and a being whose very presence exuded power, stood at the heart of the chamber, his multiple eyes narrowed in contemplation. His thoughts, as always, were a storm. "The silence persists," he intoned, his voice a low rumble that resonated through the chamber. "The scout vessels we dispatched remain unaccounted for. No distress signals, no sign of wreckage, just nothing." His words hung in the air, each syllable a pronouncement of looming catastrophe. The council members, drawn from the myriad species that comprised the Ethel Empire, shifted uneasily in their seats, their diverse forms conveying the same unspoken fear. The Zidonian ambassador, whose body was a shifting cloud of iridescent particles, wavered, its form flickering as if caught in a temporal anomaly. "Are we certain this silence is a result of their influence?" a deep voice boomed. It was the Giarthak warlord, his massive frame radiating an aura of barely contained violence. The Giarthak, known for their brute strength and unwavering loyalty to conquest, had initially dismissed the rumors of a new, potentially dangerous species. "Perhaps a natural phenomenon, a cosmic event of some sort. We have encountered such anomalies before, and they caused considerable disruption to our trade routes." He sounded almost hopeful, which was a dangerous thing to be. Xylar turned his gaze to the Giarthak. "We have ruled the void for ages, Warlord. We have seen every cosmic event possible. The reports from the scout ships detailed the emergence of a sector previously unknown and empty until the presence of this new species. The void itself shifted, warped, as if something of immense power was rearranging the very fabric of space-time. Their ships, the few sensor readings we managed to capture before the signal cut out. They are unlike anything we have ever encountered. And then, silence." He let the word hang in the air, a chilling testament to the unknown threat. The council members exchanged anxious glances. The Ethel Empire, a civilization built on the principle of unyielding domination, was unaccustomed to such uncertainty. They had conquered worlds, subjugated entire species, and suppressed any hint of resistance. This, silence, was a direct challenge to their dominance, a chilling reminder that the universe was vast and filled with mysteries beyond their comprehension. Their arrogance had met its match. The Krill, a species known for their psionic abilities, had been monitoring the situation closely. Their ambassador, a slender being with an elongated skull, raised a delicate hand. "We have been attempting to establish psionic contact. We sense something different, not an absence of thought, but an entirely new form of consciousness. It is difficult to describe, like trying to grasp a concept without a language." The Krill voice was laced with a deep, unsettling unease. They were used to probing and dominating the minds of others, but this was something entirely new. Their own minds reeled at the impossibility of penetrating this enigma. Xylar nodded slowly, his multiple eyes reflecting the dim light of the chamber. "The Krill's analysis aligns with the limited data we have recovered. The sensor readings are perplexing. Their ships do not conform to any known propulsion system. Their energy signatures are anomalous, and their mental architecture unreadable. It is as if they operate on principles we cannot even begin to fathom." A ripple of unease swept through the council. The Ethel, masters of their domain, found themselves facing an enigma, a challenge to their very understanding of the universe. They were accustomed to swift, decisive action. This demanded a level of patience and understanding that was alien to their nature. "We must consider all options," stated the Zidonian ambassador, its form momentarily solidifying. "Containment, observation, and if necessary, decisive action. We cannot allow this, unknown, to jeopardize the stability of the Empire. We cannot allow our carefully constructed order to be threatened by the unknown." The council members murmured in agreement, their individual voices merging into a low hum of anxiety and indecision. The shadow of fear, which had been lurking at the edges of their collective consciousness, now began to creep into the heart of the Empire. The silence was still absolute, and the universe, for the first time in millennia, held its breath. Xyler gestured with a precise movement. Initiate the diplomatic protocols, send a representative vessel, make peaceful contact the first option, but prepare for war. We must be ready for any eventuality. Deploy observation platforms to the edge of the new sector and prepare our fleets for deployment. We do not know what we face, but we must be ready to defend the Empire. He paused, his gaze sweeping over the assembled dignitaries. And remember this, we have conquered worlds without resistance for ages. This silence, this unknown threat, is the first echo of what could be, and we must not make the same mistake. Prepare yourselves for the long war. His words hung in the air, a grim prediction echoing through the cold, luminescent chamber, and the assembled delegates were left alone with their fears, their anxieties, and the haunting, impenetrable silence that had fallen across the stars. The diplomatic vessel, a sleek cruiser known as the Ethel's Embrace, drifted silently in the inky blackness that bordered the newly discovered sector. Inside the command bridge, the atmosphere was one of strained anticipation. Xyler's chosen ambassador, a Xyler known for his keen intellect and unwavering composure named Xyath, stood before a holographic display, studying the data streams emanating from the observation platforms. His mandibles clicked in a rhythmic pattern, a reflection of the turmoil within. "No change," reported the navigation officer, a hulking Giarthak. "No movement from the sector, no detectable energy signatures, nothing, just silence." The Giarthak's voice rumbled with barely suppressed frustration. Xyath did not respond immediately. His multiple eyes remained fixed on the data, sifting through the layers of information, searching for any hint of movement, any anomaly. The silence was maddening, the void holding its secrets close. He was tasked with a mission of the utmost importance, to make first contact with a species that had baffled even the most brilliant minds of the Ethel Empire. The sensors suddenly blared, the alarm cutting through the silence of the bridge. Red lights flashed across the control panels. "We have a contact," the communications officer Akrill announced, his voice trembling slightly. "Multiple contacts originating from the center of the sector. They are approaching." Xyath's heart skipped a beat. The silence was broken. The unknown was revealing itself. "Magnify the visual feed," Xyath ordered, his voice calm despite the circumstances. The holographic display flickered, then resolved into a clear image. Several vessels, unlike anything the Ethel had ever encountered, emerged from the darkness. They were sleek, streamlined, and appeared to be constructed from materials unknown to the Ethel. They lacked the sharp angles and brutalist aesthetics favored by the Empire, instead possessing a graceful, almost organic design. The most striking thing about them, however, was their size. They were enormous. "Estimate their size," Xyath commanded. The navigation officer, a veteran of countless battles, furrowed his brow. "Impossible to say, Ambassador. They are far larger than anything we have encountered, perhaps even the size of a small moon." The fleet moved with a coordinated grace that belied their massive scale. Their approach was deliberate, and the absence of any aggressive posturing offered the first spark of hope for the Ethel. "Open a channel," Xyath instructed. "Transmit a standard greeting in all known languages." He was playing a dangerous game. The fate of the Ethel Empire and perhaps the galaxy hung in the balance. The communications officer, her psionic abilities heightened with anticipation, sent the message. The channel crackled with static for a moment, then cleared. A voice, clear and resonant, echoed through the bridge. It was a language unknown to the Ethel, but the universal translator, based on the Krill's understanding of psionic patterns, began to work. "Greetings," the voice said. It was a calm, composed voice devoid of any aggression or hostility. "We are the United Earth Nations. We come in peace." Xyath felt a surge of something. Curiosity, relief. He couldn't fully comprehend it. After weeks of tension and uncertainty, a simple declaration of peace. "Greetings, United Earth Nations," Xyath replied, his voice steady. "I am Ambassador Xyath of the Ethel Empire. We welcome your arrival." He took a moment to absorb the image of the humans. They stood in the bridge of their massive ship, their faces reflecting curiosity and a touch of caution. The humans were humanoid, yet uniquely different from any of the species the Ethel had encountered. Their skin tones, their facial features, their very expressions were unlike anything they had encountered. "We have been monitoring your presence," the human voice continued. "We have observed your expansion across the void. We have also noticed that you have not encountered any resistance, but the emptiness of space can also be filled with unforeseen dangers." Zayeth felt a jolt of surprise. They were aware of the Ethel's actions, and yet they were offering peace. Their actions were illogical. "We understand your concerns," Zayeth said. "We are a proactive species, and our empire has expanded as a result. We are not always well received, as you may have noted." The human voice responded, "Indeed, we are not interested in the acquisition of territory. Our primary interest is exploration and understanding. We are here to learn." This was unprecedented. The Ethel's understanding of the universe was based on conquest, subjugation, and the accumulation of power. The humans seemed to be offering something very different. "We are also interested in understanding," Zayeth said cautiously. "We are willing to begin the process of diplomacy and knowledge sharing." "Excellent," the human voice responded. "We would be delighted to begin." The following days were spent in a whirlwind of activity. The Ethel's embrace and the human vessel, the UNS Explorer, became a nexus of exchange. The Ethel diplomats, scientists, and engineers met with their human counterparts, sharing information, comparing technologies, and attempting to unravel the mysteries of this new species. The humans proved to be a constant source of surprise. They were intellectually curious, exhibiting an insatiable thirst for knowledge. Their technology, while different from the Ethel's, was undeniably advanced and in some areas surprisingly superior. Their ethical framework was also unique. They did not seem driven by the lust for power that characterized the Ethel. They were, in the eyes of the Ethel, illogical. The humans, in turn, were fascinated by the Ethel Empire. They studied their history, their culture, and their technology. They were particularly interested in the Ethel's mastery of energy manipulation and their ability to warp spacetime. Zayeth, who had become the primary point of contact between the Ethel and the humans, found himself increasingly drawn to their way of thinking. He realized how limited the Ethel's perspective had been. He could now feel the immense weight of the decisions his people had made, a feeling they knew well. One day, he was invited to the bridge of the UNS Explorer to witness a demonstration of human technology. He stood on the observation deck, looking out at the vast expanse of space. "We would like to show you something," the human captain, a woman with a kind smile, said. "Something that can help you understand our intentions." The bridge of the UNS Explorer was vastly different from the Ethel's. While the Ethel preferred hard angles and the cold efficiency of metallic surfaces, the Explorer was filled with gentle curves, soft lighting, and a feeling of warmth. The human captain gestured towards a large holographic display. "This is a galactic map. We have charted much of the known galaxy, and the data is constantly expanding." The map shimmered, and a cascade of information began to flow across the screen. Systems, nebulas, and other celestial objects popped into existence, filling the space with color and detail. Zayeth, his mind already reeling from the complexities of human technology, was stunned. "As you can see," the human captain continued, "our understanding of the universe is quite extensive. We've been at this for a long time." She gestured to a small section of the map. "This is where we believe your sector lies. Note how very little we have marked in this region." Zayeth nodded slowly, taking in the scale of the information. He had thought the Ethel Empire was the most dominant force in the galaxy, but this map revealed a far more complex reality. Then the human captain made a startling statement. "And now, we would like to show you our most impressive achievement." The map changed. A small area of the map, centered on a seemingly empty sector of space, began to glow. "Years ago," the captain said, her voice filled with a reverence that resonated through the ship, "we detected a signal. It was faint, originating from the center of this sector. It was an advanced signal and contained data that we have spent years deciphering. With that information, we are prepared to show you what we have found." The image on the screen zoomed in, closer and closer, revealing a colossal structure, a magnificent relic of a lost civilization. It was unlike anything Zayeth had ever seen, a megastructure of immense proportions, dwarfing even the largest Ethel battle cruisers. It was a sphere of pure energy. "That," the captain said with a quiet tone of awe, "is the Dyson sphere, built by a species long vanished from this universe. They called themselves the Krythe." Zayeth felt a jolt of recognition. The Krythe, a name whispered among the Krill as a myth, a species of unimaginable power and mystery, a species that had vanished eons ago. "The Krythe," he asked, his multiple eyes wide with surprise. "What do you know of them?" The human captain smiled. "We've learned a great deal, Ambassador. The signal was a beacon, a record of their existence. Their knowledge is vast." The image on the screen shifted again, showing a detailed schematic of the Dyson sphere. It was a marvel of engineering, a testament to the Krythe's power. It was also, Scifi realized, a testament to their demise. "They are gone," the captain said, her voice dropping to a near whisper. "They had built the Dyson sphere to harness the power of a star, but something went wrong. A cosmic event, we don't know exactly what, but they vanished, and the sphere was left abandoned until we discovered it." Scifi was stunned. The Krythe, a species of unimaginable power, had vanished without a trace, and the humans, seemingly newcomers to the galactic stage, had found their legacy. He began to understand why the humans had shown such an interest in diplomacy. They knew something the Ethel did not. The vastness of the universe could bring extinction to even the most powerful of races. "Why are you showing us this?" Scifi asked. The human captain looked at him, her eyes filled with a profound understanding. "Because we believe in the importance of cooperation. We believe that we can learn from the past, and we believe that together we can face the challenges of the future." She paused, her gaze sweeping over the panoramic view of space. "We have learned that silence is not always absence. Sometimes it is the prelude to something truly terrifying." The image on the screen shifted again, revealing a glimpse of the vastness of the space beyond the sphere. The words on the screen said, "Warning, cosmic event detected." Scifi stood in silence. The implications of this revelation were staggering. The Ethel Empire had been focused on domination, on the accumulation of power. But the humans were focused on understanding, on cooperation, on the preservation of knowledge. And they were warning the Ethel that they must be ready for what was coming. Later, Scifi gathered with the High Council in the Ethel chamber. The Krythe had also studied their civilization. His words resonated in the chamber, heavy with the weight of impending revelation. "They have shown us something extraordinary," Scifi said, his voice solemn. "Something that challenges everything we thought we knew about the universe. The humans, the United Earth nations, have found something we have missed. An immense structure, a remnant of a civilization that vanished eons ago, a cosmic event of incredible power." The council members, the veterans of countless wars and the architects of the Ethel Empire, were stunned. The Krythe. It was a name whispered in the shadows, a myth that had survived the ages. And now the humans had found their legacy. "Their intentions are unclear," a Giarthak warlord grumbled, his voice laced with suspicion. "We must be cautious. This could be a trap." "I understand your concerns," Scifi replied. "But the humans have provided us with invaluable information. We must now, more than ever, work with them. A threat as dangerous as the one they described requires everything the Ethel and the humans can muster." The council members exchanged anxious glances. The Ethel Empire, a civilization built on conquest, was now facing a threat unlike any they had encountered before. They were on the brink of an alliance with a species that had challenged their fundamental beliefs about the universe. It was a choice between survival and oblivion. "The humans have offered their assistance," Scifi continued, his voice resonating through the chamber. "They have offered to share their knowledge, their technology, and more importantly, they have warned us of the potential threat of the coming cosmic event." The Zidonian ambassador, its form momentarily solidifying, raised a slender hand. "We have been monitoring the humans' behavior. They have shown no signs of deception. Their actions suggest genuine concern. They seem to place an unusual value on cooperation." "Indeed," Scifi agreed. "Their primary interest lies not in acquiring territory or resources, but in understanding and preserving life. They have shown us that power alone is not enough to survive. We must adapt. We must learn. We must unite." The council members were silent, their minds struggling to comprehend the implications of this new reality. The Ethel Empire, the conquerors of the void, were now facing the prospect of alliance. It was a moment of profound transformation. "We must accept their offer of alliance," Scifi declared, his voice firm. "We must combine our strengths, our knowledge, and our resources. We must face the coming threat together, but with a caveat." The council members leaned forward, their senses heightened, their eyes fixed on Scifi. "We must also learn from them. The humans have shown us that there are other ways to exist in the universe. We can no longer think that force is the only answer. We must also learn how to understand, to cooperate, and to value the knowledge of others. We can learn a new meaning of power. A murmur of approval rippled through the chamber. The council members, the leaders of the Ethel Empire, had accepted the reality of a new age. The tide had turned. The ensuing weeks were a flurry of activity. The Ethel and the humans began to pool their resources, sharing technologies and strategizing. The Ethel's Embrace and the UNS Explorer became the command centers of a new alliance. The Ethel engineers, led by Scifi himself, worked alongside their human counterparts. They learned from each other, exchanged ideas, and modified their weapons and tactics to reflect the combined knowledge of both civilizations. The Krill, with their psionic abilities, focused on scanning and interpreting the data from the cosmic event, seeking to find a way to mitigate its effects. The Gearthak warriors, initially skeptical of the alliance, found themselves increasingly impressed by the humans' bravery, compassion, and tactical prowess. The Gearthak saw that the humans could hold their own in combat, which earned their respect, and also demonstrated an unusual willingness to risk their own lives to protect the weak. Scifi and the human captain, whose name was Eva Rostova, had become close friends. They spent countless hours discussing philosophy, strategy, and the nature of the universe. Scifi had learned to appreciate the human way of thinking, their emphasis on cooperation, their respect for life, and their unwavering determination. Eva had learned to admire the Ethel's resilience, their ingenuity, and their unwavering loyalty to their empire. One day, they were both standing on the bridge of the Ethel's Embrace, watching as a series of simulations played out on the holographic display. The Krill, using their psionic abilities, had been able to gather more data on the cosmic event. The readings were staggering. "The event is accelerating," the Krill communications officer said, his voice strained. "The energy levels are off the charts. It is unlike anything we have ever seen." The holographic display showed a swirling vortex of energy, expanding at an alarming rate. It was a cosmic anomaly, a tear in the fabric of space-time. "The Krythe, they were not defeated," Eva said, her voice filled with a terrible certainty. "They were erased." "We must prepare our fleets," Scifi said. "The event is moving too quickly." "This is not a war, Ambassador," Eva responded. "This is survival. We must face it together." And together they prepared. The combined fleets of the Ethel and the United Earth Nations, a testament to the alliance that had been forged in the heart of the void, stood ready. They had created something never before witnessed in the galaxy. At the edge of the new sector, they had deployed a network of defensive structures, designed to dissipate the energy of the cosmic event. The humans, with their ingenuity and advanced technology, had devised a method to neutralize it, while the Ethel, with their mastery of energy manipulation, had bolstered their defenses. The Krill, using their psionic abilities, created a psionic shield designed to protect the ships from the radiation of the event. The Gearthak warriors, their ships at the ready, prepared for a last stand. As the cosmic event drew near, the air crackled with tension. The void itself seemed to hold its breath. The ships of the combined fleets formed a defensive perimeter. The silence was broken only by the hum of the engines and the rhythmic clicking of Scifi's mandibles. And then it came. The cosmic event erupted, a maelstrom of energy that flooded the sector, ripping through space-time. The defensive structures held their ground as the energy slammed against them. The Krill shield glowed with a blinding light. The ships of the combined fleet opened fire, directing their combined might against the event. The battle raged, but the event was relentless. The Ethel's Embrace shuddered, rocked by the fury of the cosmic event. Scifi and Eva stood side by side on the bridge, watching the chaos unfold. "Hold the line," Eva shouted over the din. "Don't let it through." "We will not fail," Scifi said, his voice filled with determination. "For the Ethel Empire and for humanity." The battle continued, the ships of the Alliance fighting with the ferocity and determination of those fighting for their very existence. The humans and the Ethel, working together, using their combined knowledge and resources, managed to slow the advance of the cosmic event. They did not win, but they did survive. As the cosmic event receded, a silence fell over the sector, a silence broken only by the sounds of the damaged ships. The defensive structures were in ruins. The Krill shield was flickering, and the combined fleet had suffered heavy losses, but they had survived. Ziath and Eva stood on the bridge of the Ethel's embrace, looking out at the shattered remnants of the sector. The devastation was immense, but they were alive, and together they had pushed back the cosmic event. "We did it," Eva said, her voice filled with exhaustion. "We did," Ziath replied. "Together." He paused, his gaze sweeping over the survivors. "The Ethel Empire and the United Earth nations have been forever changed by this." The humans and the Ethel together had not only faced the cosmic event, they had also faced a paradigm shift. They had realized the limitations of their past. The humans had showed the Ethel that power was not the only answer, and the Ethel, in turn, had showed humanity the meaning of perseverance. They had faced the unknown and survived. But as they looked out at the broken void, the silence was broken again, but not by the void. Something new broke it. A signal. A faint but distinct signal, originating from the center of the Dyson sphere. It was a signal that they had been unable to decipher before, lost in the noise of space. The Krill, using their psionic abilities, had been able to isolate it, and now they understood it. "We have decoded the signal," the Krill communications officer announced, his voice filled with a mixture of fear and awe. "It is a warning." "A warning?" Ziath asked, his multiple eyes narrowing. "From whom?" "From the Kryth," the Krill officer replied. "A warning of what is coming." The holographic display shimmered, showing the decoded signal. The Kryth, in their wisdom, had foreseen the cosmic event, but they had not been defeated by it. They had transcended it, and they had left a message. "The void, it is not empty," the Krill officer read, his voice barely audible. "We have conquered worlds without resistance. Our arrogance created our own silence. The darkness is coming. It always has been. It is not something we can defeat. It is a part of us, but they are beyond it. Their light is fading. Go beyond them. Go to the stars." Ziath and Eva exchanged shocked glances. The implications of this revelation were staggering. The Kryth, the ancient species that had built the Dyson sphere, had not vanished. They had moved on, and they were warning humanity. The universe was not what they thought. The signal continued. It was a map, a guide. It led to a distant location, a place unknown to the Ethel and humanity, a place beyond the known galaxy, a place where the Kryth had gone. "What do you think it means?" Eva asked, her voice barely a whisper. Ziath stared at the image, his mind racing. The Kryth, with their vast knowledge and power, had not been able to defeat the cosmic event. They had only been able to escape it, and they were now inviting humanity and the Ethel to follow. "It means," Ziath said, his voice filled with a newfound awe, "that we have a new frontier, a new beginning, a chance to explore the greatest mystery of all." He turned to Eva. "Will you come with me?" Eva smiled. "Of course," she said, "we will go together." The Ethel and the humans had conquered worlds without resistance. They had learned to understand each other. They had faced oblivion and survived. And now they were preparing to face a new challenge. They were preparing to go beyond the stars, to chase the echo of silence, to embrace the unknown, to find out what the Kryth saw, to follow the fading light, and find what it means to be human in the face of the vast and mysterious universe.